If you own a company and you're not producing a podcast, you're missing out. The public consumes messaging when they're ready. Join the professional podcast network of companies and let JAKIB Media Partners put you in the podcast arena. Come to our professional studio, or we'll come to your place of business and professionally produce your company podcast. Call JAKIB Media right now at 267-261-3428. 267-261-3428.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Get money, yo.
My man, what's up, brother? Philly Godfather.
This is the Philly Godfather from the PhillyGodfather.com, and welcome to the Sports Betting Show. Make sure you guys check us out on Sirius XM channel 159, Sports Grid, and JAKIB Sports Media. Now, let me introduce you guys to the lineup. My co-host, the legendary icon, World Series of Poker champion, and one of the sharpest and most successful minds in gambling today, Jamie Gold.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. You know, I am among the legends and the best at what they do. And I just wanted to thank all of our listeners. We are just beginning this journey together, and we will be also on YouTube. We'll be on Spotify. We'll be on Apple Podcasts. But thank you to Sports Grid and JAKIB Media for making this possible, and Sirius XM. One of the things that I wanted to make sure that our listeners understood is that we are not betting every game, and no really sharp sports bettor is betting every single game. And I know a lot of people think that they should just focus on a game and pick a side, but it is about looking at the lines, finding the edges. We are going to give you all of our moves, and then we react. And the beautiful thing about these guys is that they're originators. They're getting in there first. So sometimes we will find lines that aren't available anymore once we get in on them. So you just have to make sure that you're not betting any line when it goes worse against you, and that you want to find leverage points in the market. And when we get in early and then the line moves really far against us, or I should say for us, but it's moving against, then there's that beautiful holy grail of all opportunities where you can bet the other side. So you have both sides. So let's say we got one side at +3, the other side at +3. Now we have this unbelievable 6-point middle, which is the dream of all dreams for sports bettors. And we are always just trying to find you edges. So thank you for having me. I've learned so much from you all. I continue to learn. I am going to take notes so that at the end of the show, we'll do a golden recap, and I will give out all the picks that we talked about on this show. So if you're watching, you can listen. If you miss something, you will get all the picks at the end of the show.
Thank you, Jamie. And next up in the lineup, the man, the myth, the legend. He's been on the cover of every newspaper in the country, HBO, Showtime. You've seen him on Netflix. Jimmy the Sheep Batista.
Yeah.
Good evening, Godfather, and my esteemed colleagues. And how are you this evening? Another wonderful week here in football land.
I know you're.
Let's get ready to fire.
I know you're a little upset about something. So I'm going to go to Bobby next. Bobby, one of my originators on the website, PhillyGodfather.com, and one of the young guns who's destroying the market. Bobby from the College Kids.
Pleasure to be here. It's my first time on the college football show. So happy to be here.
Good. And he's not nervous this week, so it makes everything so much better. But right away, I mean, what I want to talk about is, you know, the quarterback performance in college football is so key to these teams going deep and maybe making the playoffs and winning a national championship. And after week one, we've seen a huge move, you know, in the Heisman Trophy odds. Caleb Williams, obviously a +475. He's still the favorite. You got Jordan Travis, Florida State +750. You got Penix, who lit it up at +800. Bo Nix at +1600 from Oregon. JJ from Michigan. I got a future on them at 9-1 to win it all. So I'm glad he played so well and looked so efficient.
Well, let's not forget my Cade Klubnik. Terrible pick. It was one of my two. Thankfully, my other one is number one in the running there still. But yeah, I made a pretty big error in the first week.
I mean, it happens to the best of us. I mean, we lose 43% of our wages long term, so you can't win them all, Jamie. You know? But like I was saying, going back to the odds, and then you got some guys like Travis Hunter, +2,500. He might be the most gifted athlete in college football today. And then you got Shedeur Sanders, who people don't remember. Alabama wanted him. And he said no to Alabama. He went elsewhere. So this kid could be starting at Alabama right now.
Do you believe now?
And he's at
Coach Prime.
I think you can find him at 28-1. So let me go to Bobby first. Bobby, out of everyone on that list, I mean, and maybe I missed somebody, but who do you think after week 1 has the best chance of winning this Heisman?
I think there's value on Penix still at 9-1. You know, you look at his performance last week. He had 40 pass attempts, and I believe that Washington has a chance to win the Pac-12, but that team's only going to go as far as he can take them. And you look at him last year, 4,600 yards, 31 touchdowns, only 8 interceptions. You know, he looks like he's on pace to even top that this year.
Yeah, and we took him at plus 475 to win it. So we're sitting pretty with that pick. I think we're safe with that. It's going to be a long season, but like you said, Caleb Williams still plus 475, still the favorite. I mean, he's going 36 for 49, almost 600 yards passing, 9 touchdowns. So you can't really argue with the odds.
Sticking with Caleb. At least I had 1 out of 2 good picks, and he'll pay me 5-1. So it'll be a good profit if he comes through.
Yeah, it's good money. And then you got Jordan Travis at 750. I mean, I think he looked good, but I don't think he looked great in that Florida State game. He had some brain cramps early in the first half. His stats were somewhat impressive, but he did throw an interception, and there was a couple other passes that could have been picked off.
Yeah.
So, I don't really agree with that jump in the market. JJ at plus 1,600. I mean, I'm hoping he comes through. And then you got some sleepers like I said, Shedeur Sanders. I mean,
there's a stud in Happy Valley that's going to get better. And I'll get into the Penn State game later, but Drew Aller, he's height, weight. If his mechanics get better, he sees the field like I've never seen. And I watched that game. I was so impressed with his vision with his receivers. I mean, he's a freshman. He's 19.
Yeah, don't you think
old.
next year would be his year?
Anything's possible.
Yeah, he's a young kid. He's a big
young kid.
He's strong. He's got a great arm. Strong offensive
What can we
line.
get on Shedeur right now? 25-1?
You can get 28-1.
28-1.
He threw for 510 yards.
He's not getting the respect yet.
No.
And that's the problem.
And
one game.
They still don't believe in Coach Prime and the family Prime.
Hold that thought for 1 second, Jane. We got big guests. We got one of my good friends, Bill Krakenberger, coming up next in the second segment. So make sure you guys come back.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles. EAGLES, Eagles.
Welcome back to the Sports Betting Show. And before we go to our next guest, Tom Gable from the Borgata Sportsbook, I know Jimmy's got something on his mind that he's got to get off his chest, something that really irks a lot of sports bettors, something that happened in the market this week that really bothered a lot of us.
Well, first of all, it was a great weekend for college football. We had some fantastic endings with the Colorado game, with the Clemson game, which was a great display from Duke on their hand. But the game that stuck out to me the most that I sat back and watched on my couch was the West Virginia Penn State game. And let's get into it. First of all, I got to compliment Drew Aller. He's a stud in the making. And I love this kid and I love his vision. Now let's talk about the game. So the line on the game was 21 and 49.5.
There were some 20.5s out there.
Yes,
Yeah,
but predominantly was 21 across the board, offshore.
Game opened 50,
And
went
you-
down to 49. Yeah.
Correct. So, but it closed at one point and went to 47.5, if I'm correct.
We were looking good.
We were looking good.
We were looking real good.
So in our world, dog and under was the side, plus 21 and under 49.5. I mean, Penn State couldn't put them away the entire game. They just didn't have it in them. And that's the way it played out. So with 6 seconds left in the game, Penn State's up 31-15. Now, you're going to say, Jimmy, well, what are you talking about? Well, at that point, they're within West Virginia's 10-yard line. 6 seconds left on the game, and the man, James Franklin, decides to score the points. Now, for what reason?
Oh, we don't know the reason.
We're going to get
Boosters.
to that.
You got boosters.
You got boosters to take care of. So
got guys that
you're
are
sitting
Penn
31-15. You're dogging under. You're ready to cash your ticket. And what happens? You get the Tim Donaghy Play of the Year, week 1. Each week here, we analyze, we read, and we look at everything that's going on.
In poker, we call this a bad beat.
This ain't a bad beat.
Was the fix in, Jim?
Well, each week I'm going
Jimmy
to
the
look.
fixers trying to,
Well, James Franklin gets the fix of the week. Each week on the show, I'm going to look at a college and NFL game that I think that has a little fishy. Why can I do that? Because I fixed enough fucking games in my life that I think that there's something fishy going on. So it's 31-15 with 6 seconds left in the game, and Mr. Franklin decides to run the ball in the end zone. What happens in Happy Valley? Every booster who laid the 20.5 and 21 and went over 47, 48, 49.5 are gone crazy because now the home team and the game goes over, which is predominantly most of the bets went on in Square World.
But let's be honest. What bothered you the most about the ending of that game is we had under 50, 49.5, and almost every account we bet into.
We did. But I got to be honest with you, there was no reason for him. At that point,
You take the knee.
you take the knee and you do the right thing.
Why would you even put
There was
the
no
thought of something
Right. And
erroneous going
and
on?
I was on another conversation. That happened in the Oregon State game when they scored a touchdown with 4 seconds left. It's different because the Dogs scored
I
the
got to slow
touchdown.
Jimmy down. He can go on forever for this. But let me bring on my next
Hold on
guest.
1 second real fast.
No, I got-
So James Franklin gets the fix of the week.
All right, we got Tom Gable coming on from the Borgata. Tom, you there?
I am, and Jimmy, say I feel your pain. I felt your pain.
That hurt.
We need Penn State to cover, and unfortunately, you do see this kind of thing happen in college football. It happens. Pros, every time you're going to see the quarterback take a knee there, but in college, a lot of times, as you guys said, you gotta pay off the boosters, make sure that they win their bets.
Isn't there also an incentive for teams to run up the score so that they, when there's the voting at the end of the year, so they can get the top 10 and all that? Isn't there an incentive in college football for that?
Sure, style points. That's something that's been there for years with Alabama and the likes. That the more points that they run up, the better it looks for the committee.
All right, let's get down to business, Tom, while you're on the show here. Let's go to Texas, Alabama. Huge game. Alabama was laying 7.5. I'm seeing some 7s in the market. I'm seeing a little bit of movement in the market. What's the public betting if they are betting this game this early? And is there any sharp money on the side or on the total so far?
Yeah, so Alabama opened 7-point favorite. It got up to 7.5 at one point, back down to 7 now. And, the total here has where the movements come in. You've seen some sharp money come in on the under here. So open 57.5 down to 54.5. And, Jalen Milroe, he looked very good for Alabama last week against Middle Tennessee. He ran for 2 TDs, threw for 3 more. But this is the real test here. And remember, this was a quarterback competition here for the starting job between Milroe and Tyler Buckner. So ironically, Milroe, he actually committed to Texas originally and decommitted and then went to Alabama instead. So, Texas is going to be a tough test. They're the preseason favorite to win the Big 12. And, for years, though, this program has been overhyped and they've underachieved. And, aside from Bijan Robinson, they're returning all their offensive starters from last year's team. The look ahead line for this game has always been right around a touchdown. And historically, Alabama rarely loses at home when they're ranked in the top 5. So I think we'll really see what this Texas team is made of here. Alabama has a great defense, and these outside linebackers for the Crimson Tide, they may be the best in the country. If Milroe doesn't make any mistakes, I think the Longhorns have an uphill battle here, but it should be a fun one. And this will be in the late game on Saturday night, or primetime game Saturday night. This is going to get a lot of the betting attention.
All right, cool. Let's go to the next game. 3:33, 3:34 on your sports betting screen. Texas A&M travels to Miami. I see the line bouncing around anywhere from 4.5 down to 3.5, back to 4. It looks pretty much painted 4 across the screen. The total went from 49. I think it's up to 51. Is there any sharp money on the side or a total in this matchup?
Yeah, so this opened 5.5. So you saw some early money there on Miami. The Texas A&M program, specifically on the offensive side of the ball for them, was one of the more interesting storylines, I think, coming into this season for me. Particularly with Bobby Petrino coming in as the offensive coordinator. And, if Jimbo Fisher would truly cede control on the offensive side of the ball to him, they're returning a lot of talent from last year. They have 20 of 22 starters returning, 10 on each side of the ball. A lot of talent at wide receiver. They have a great pass rush. I think maybe the Achilles heel for them is going to be defending the middle of the field. That's where Miami may be able to get something going there.
Has sharp money come in on either side yet, Tom, or not yet?
You saw some early money there on Miami, but that was it. They took the 5.5 early, and really, as you said, it's kind of been bouncing around here 4.5 since. But the respective money certainly came in early on Miami, gobbled up that 5.5 early.
All right, let's go to the next game. This is the game that everyone's talking about, Nebraska, Colorado. I know the look-ahead line had Nebraska as a 6-point favorite, and then they reopened it after that big win against TCU, Colorado's big win. And I saw some 5s out there, but that quickly went back down to 3. Is there any sharp money on the side or a total in this matchup?
You're starting to see some respected money now come in on Nebraska. I think just an over adjustment from the market, but let's face it, the market was all over Colorado last week. Not for us. We actually, that was a good result for us in that game with TCU.
I know it was. You guys ain't going to be out there begging for money after that. I know guys that were calling me up and saying, should I bet the money line for a 10% return? And I was like, are you crazy? You can't do that. This is prime time. This is showtime.
No, all the books were crying because they had so much Colorado money. All we did you money last
That's it. That's good. You guys are sharp. All right, Tom, I want to thank you for coming on for the college football segment, and you'll be back for the NFL segment in the next hour. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Well, Jimmy, Bobby, Jamie.
Well, I got money on Colorado plus 1.5. The minute it came out, I pounded it. I got them also minus 122 and then minus 1.5. I know it's at 3 now, but oh man, I love that money line on Colorado. Anything over 3 doesn't feel so good.
It's definitely a letdown spot. Let's be honest. I mean, usually in college football, you see a team go out there on the road, and they don't just cover the spread. They went out right as 21-point dogs.
You're disrespecting Matt. I'm telling you right now.
This is a little different.
I'm a Cornhusker this week.
Right, hold that thought, man. We're going to come back on our next segment. We got my good friend Bill Krakenberger, one of the biggest sports bettors on the planet. You guys all know him, so check it out.
the greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Back to the sports betting show. Before I get to one of my best friends in the world and one of the best sports bettors out there, we got Matt Maltepis from the College Kids joining the roundtable. Matt, what's going on?
It's an amazing day to be live. I'm happy to be here. Sports betting show, the best show on the planet.
Yes.
Absolutely. So with no further ado, one of my dearest friends and one of the greatest guys on the planet, I want to welcome Bill Krakenberger on the show.
Hey, always in the middle of something like I'm getting extra entries right now for the not extra ones. I'm over at the Circus Sportsbook at Tuscany.
You got bodyguards with you? You're outside.
You need bodyguards in this. I hate to say this, but I'm parked right in the front. You need bodyguards many places around town. That brings up a quick story from last night. I just told my wife. This town is so bad. Last night, one of her friends were robbed in a casino. In a casino at Sam's Town in the bathroom. She went into the bathroom and someone acted like they were trying to tie their shoe and they couldn't tie it. And she went to go help put her pocketbook down, robbed her pocketbook with $2,300 in it. So that's Las Vegas. It's I hate to be so negative and cynical, but I'm being a realist. All I'm talking is real. But I know that's not why you have me on here. You have me on to talk sports. And
absolutely. And you go on all these shows, Bill, and I've known you for almost 2 decades, and they're always asking you for your picks and who you like this week. And but before we do any of that, I really want to ask you why and how you got into this industry. What drove you to become a professional sports bettor? Like, how did you transition from, someone, into a professional sports bettor?
Yes, Steve, let me actually put these ear pods on because it'll be clearer for your guest to hear me. And it's just better for the whole show. Hold on one second. Let's get on here. Apologize.
Thank you for being ready for all of this.
Yeah. No, listen.
That's Bill, man. He's always moving. He's always grooving.
You guys wouldn't believe how many shows I did today. Everyone wants a winner. Hey, there's the sphere.
All right, well, we're live. We're live to tape, Bill. So let's focus.
Okay.
All right. So what got you into the business? Like, how did you just say, you know what? You don't just wake up one day and say, I want to be a professional sports bettor. How did it happen for you?
Yeah, no, I always gambled when I was a kid. You understand? I grew up in a town in an area where, we used to come down from the Bronx to the Jersey Shore, a town named Kingsburg. And that little boardwalk, blue collar, Irish Catholic Italian town, that town was full of gamblers. We used to play those parlay cards. I don't know if you guys are old enough to remember. Remember those parlay little things with the little edges you used to rip out?
Absolutely.
Okay, to the local guy,
like voting with Chad.
Yes.
You could just pick them out.
I used to give them out in 6th and 7th grade. I had a guy giving them to me.
Oh,
I used to get a little small piece. I was taking action in 6th grade.
Oh, so you guys definitely know. So
I was playing in 7th and 8th grade. Absolutely.
I was a sucker. I was a loser. For years, but I always liked betting. And I worked in that ballpark since I'm 9 years old. And my cousin Anthony, who was my mother's side of the family, he was the smartest guy in the family. He showed me advantage betting, not really advantage. He was a blackjack card counter. He went to school for blackjack card counting, a little class. And he was really just a genius mind. He went to Fordham, onto a tech school. He was a really smart guy. Today he's very wealthy. But blackjack card counting was his first thing. He was like 24, 25, taught me that. showed me how to bet dogs in baseball. There was just baseball it was the summertime, boardwalk summertime. How the money's not in the favorites, it's on the underdogs. So we did a lot of that, a lot of underdog stuff. And
were the kosher kids still around back then when you first got into it?
This was 1980.
Oh wow, they came in later. Yeah.
This was I was
you were
12,
kid.
13.
Yeah,
I started working on the boardwalk in 77. I'm a lot older than you guys think. So I started working at 9 years old, and I was working at 77 on that boardwalk, and it was a gambling at nighttime when the boardwalk. Remember, Atlantic City wasn't even, that literally just came into existence. One casino that summer. That was about an hour and a half south of us. And at nighttime, all those games of chance where people came down to try to win statues and stuff, they turned into real money games. So people, they were doing illegal gambling. There was tons of it going on the boardwalk. I had no chance. I don't know how I got out of this life, man. I mean, but my cousin showed me a lot of things, the sectioning a wheel, timing a wheel. He was very, very sharp. So he helped me out with a lot of things. And he's the one that first got me into gambling and in a positive, in a right way, knowing pot odds, folding and stuff. I'm only 9, 10, 11, 13 years old. We used to play AC Deucey on the boardwalk at nighttime. You guys remember AC Deucey?
Sure,
Ace high, deuce low. Sure. That's what we played on the boardwalk. So there's pot odds involved in that. How many cards are in the middle? And that was my first introduction to it. But yet I was still a sucker. I would take the money I made working on the pizza place, working at the games of chance, and I would go to Monmouth Park. Used to take a bus from Kingsburg to Long Branch to Oceanport, and blow my money at the racetrack. I was a stone cold sucker.
What was the defining moment? Like, what changed all that? What took you from losing money gambling to becoming a long-term winner?
I always knew about it, but I just probably when I was a kid didn't have the skill set of the common sense to know not to blow my money at negative EV things until I got a phone call from a guy in jail, believe it or not, said something's going on in Atlantic City at the old Golden Nugget on an advantage blackjack machine. It just happens they were giving all your money back when you press surrender and you get your money back. And that machine changed my life because the guy next to me, his name was Frank. He was an advantage gambler. And Frank literally changed my life. And my life changed from that day. He said, listen, do you play with any bookmakers? He said, if you play with a bookmaker from Philadelphia, or that's where he was playing, I play in New York. Yeah, hi. Bill Krackenberger. Nice to see you. Oh, nice. Very nice to meet you.
He's on a show. We're going to keep him focused on the show.
Signing autographs.
Thanks. Hi, guys. Awesome. Hi. Sorry.
So Billy, this guy introduced you to Advantage Sports Betting. And how long did it take from that point to the time you say, you know what, I'm moving out to Vegas and I'm going to go out there and crush the sports books?
That was, I went out with him I met Frank in 93 or 94. And literally we were partners in sports. He let me use his bankroll. I had no money. I had like $3,000. He let me use his bankroll to middle and scalp games. And that's how I started. I started middling and scalping. That's how I started. It wasn't just jumping into taking a side and taking a risk. We always put more on the bad side though. So in other words, let's say you had over 130 on a basketball game and it moved to 135. Well, we put more on the 130 and take back less on the 135.
Right.
So,
right.
But the 130 is the positive side, and that's the side that you're going to make more money on. I wish I had a chance to do it over again. Instead of doing that middling and scalping, giving the bad book all that money, I could have made a lot more money.
Hey, Bill, it's Jamie Gold. I'm a fan, and we really appreciate having you here. Hey, and I wanted to ask you, one of the things that we're doing on this show is we want to always give our listeners some type of education, value. So if you can share one lesson that you've learned from all of your experience and being this really sharp sports bettor, what's a lesson that you could share with our audience so that they can learn from the best?
There's so many skill sets, but I would have to say really not betting with emotion. I bet I'll have tonight, I have a good healthy 5 figures on bets. As of right now, I'm not even watching the game. So it's not, everyone has to watch the game action. I understand. They love to. I would say the skill set of not having emotion and putting emotion in if you lose. Because listen, I'm going to lose 4,500 bets approximately in 2023. I'm going to win 6,000, but I'm going to lose 4,500 bets. So
that's a good point.
It's you can't have emotion and get mad and have to go on to the next thing and bet, especially on Sunday night, like Sunday football, and then Sunday night you're gonna have to. The games on TV, I have to bet. No way. Bullshit. That's absolutely how you go broke.
Another
great
mistake,
lesson.
Another mistake I've seen, and I've even seen some sharp guys do this. I mean, a lot of people love to chase, and I've seen some sharp guys actually chase over the years, and that's probably one of the worst things you can do if you're having a bad week. Sometimes you got to take it
doubling
on the chin,
down
right?
on losses.
Yeah, you got to take it on the chin, right, Billy?
Absolutely. You have to have. I have losing weeks. I have losing months. I had 2 losing months. I think one last year, but the year before I had 2 losing months. I'm not going to have a losing quarter hardly ever. Never a losing year. But you have to have those skill sets of bankroll management but not only bankroll management. Everyone preaches that 1 to 2% of volume. That's great. All that stuff's great. It doesn't matter though. You have to have that skill set of the internal not chasing. Not getting mad when you get knocked out. Jamie, of course I know you. You're a legendary guy. I know who you are. I didn't even know you were there, to be honest with you. I didn't see it. I can't see the thing. But like, Jamie, you know this. How many poker players have you seen, by the way, winning poker players, giant winners of tournaments and stuff, over time? These guys are long-term winners. How many of these guys do you know that have got mad at a poker tournament, got mad and went out and blew 6 figures on roulette or whatever?
Yeah, they do. They tilt it all off in the pits, and it's a really bad habit that they have. And I've been there. I've done it myself. And emotion certainly comes into poker and sports betting, and so that's a really great lesson. Thank you,
Billy. I want to thank you for coming on this segment. We got about a minute left.
Thanks.
I don't want to come short.
Too, guys.
No, it's fine. Man, I love you, Bill.
I want to come on anytime you guys want me to come on. I'll come on.
Absolutely. If you got one strong game, and you don't have to give it out, you don't have to. But if you got something that you want to share with everyone, real quick, we got about 45 seconds left.
How about a teaser? How about a teaser? You know, I don't like giving out teasers because the juice is so high on these things, but there are places out there that still charge normal juice for a teaser. I like the Cleveland side of the teaser this week. So Cleveland, you're going to take it through the key numbers of 3 and 7, taking Cleveland from 2.5 to 8.5. You want to get over 8 this year too. You don't want to get over 7, over 8. With the analytics, sometimes the 8s are in play now. So I'm going to say take it to 8.5. And put maybe Washington with it. I like Washington teasing it down.
There you go. You got Billy's teaser this week. Thanks for coming on, Bill. We're going to go to our next segment. We're going to give out a lot of moves. Keep watching.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Back to the sports betting show. I'm the Philly Godfather from the PhillyGodfather.com. I want to thank our two guests, Tom Gable from Borgata and my good friend, one of my dearest friends in the world, Bill Krackenberger, for coming on. You can find him at Crack Wins, Billy, and he's got an amazing website as well. And I will not bring on any touts onto this show Like the guys I bring on are real guys, Jamie. They're professional sports bettors, guys that I know move and shape the market, the guys that I know that have an edge, guys that I know that have been doing this a long time, and I've seen them win. They're proven long-term winners, and Bill's definitely one of them. But let's get down to business. Let's give out, the moves that, everyone listening wants to hear. Let's go to college football. Jamie, who do you like this week in college football?
Well, just one thing before we get into it. So I like to share with our audience the things that they're going to learn from watching this show. And, we're going to teach people how to think about sports betting as opposed to just telling them what to do. So how the books operate, the wisdom of the crowd, the prices, the money management, not chasing, the confidence in your reads, learning how to handicap, all of these things are going to come in when you watch our show, the sports betting show. So let's get into the moves. I really like Georgia under. I like it it came out at under 53. It's now about 52. I like it at 53 or 52. Ball State is one of the worst offenses, and it's a real mismatch. Georgia might hold them to a donut, right? They may not score a point. Georgia's defense is a beast. And so
tagline.
So look at, you have to, I learned from you, if we see the spread is 42, they're not thinking that Ball State's going to score a lot of points here, right? So that's my best bet for college football this week.
So you like the under 52 and a half, 52 right around there.
Well, besides Colorado, if you could have gotten them even like I did.
That's a better number. Below that key number 3 for Colorado.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, Jimmy the Sheep Batista. Jimmy, I know you got a little upset with the Penn State game last week. You got anything you want to share with anyone out there?
My inside information game of the week here at Jimmy the Sheep is Michigan over 58. The analytics, this game's going over.
You think they're
stick move?
Is it a stick, a balloon? What are we talking?
What are we talking, Jimmy?
Couple of dimes? What are we moving on this one?
It's my inside information of the week. No sticks yet.
No sticks yet.
It's a long year yet.
So tell me again, Michigan
over 58.
Michigan over 58.
Yes,
we're going to have that golden recap, so you got to make it clear.
Absolutely. I'm taking notes for our listeners.
There's no fix on it, but I like the information on the game.
Jimmy thinks everything is fixed.
Not everything, but 7 out of every 10 positions.
4 out of 5 dentists recommended.
We love you and we respect you, but we all know that you make fun of a lot of these fixes. It's hilarious.
What else you got? You got anything else for the listeners out there?
Just the one game that really stand out to me.
Game?
One strong game for me is Michigan over 58.
I tell everyone all the time, if you can pick up just one position a day,
that's all you need.
You're one of the greatest sports bettors that ever lived. That's 365 positions a week.
You just want to win one more than you lose every day.
If you can win 300 positions,
it's a long year.
And you're the best.
You know what? And I
win 2 out of 3.
Oh my God.
I like to watch as much football as I can and read everything I can. But the one game that stuck out to me this week is Michigan over 58.
I know you like doing those things.
What's that?
I said, I know you like doing those things, but what you love doing the most is firing.
I agree, but also through my years, my 35 or 40 years of gambling, I've known to tranquilo, relax.
And let me ask you a question.
I like the info, and I also work with a lot of people that get inside information. Yes, I live by that. I'm sorry, I made my life on getting calls from people that have some very good information.
We do. We get legally.
Legal, yes.
It's all legal.
We have inside information legally.
We haven't gotten to park a ticket in years.
And it is very important. You should be a sponge for information. Take it from anywhere you can that's reliable.
The more you learn, the more you bet.
And for people that are just listening to the show for the first time, Jimmy has been on Netflix. They've done a documentary on him. They've written a book about him, Game in the Game. There was a movie that came out. He's been on HBO. He won Gumball the Emmy that year, right, with the interview?
Believe it or not, we did. He
won that interview. Won him the Emmy, and he's been on the front page of every newspaper in the country. So we're not on here, just claiming to have inside information. We know a lot of people in this industry, and you don't have to answer this question if you don't want to. Betting on college football, how much money? You don't have to give an exact answer. Have you moved on in the past 30 years? I mean, if you had to just guess.
How many balloons have I moved on?
How many balloons in college football?
Well, let's tell the listeners what a balloon is.
A balloon's $1 million.
That's a big paper.
Right. It is. I mean, I moved a lot of money in my days. I mean, I'm not as active as I was 15, 16
Well, none
years
of us
ago.
are as active in anything. We're getting old.
But that's a hard question. Because there's so many years, and with the changes.
So when you said balloons, it's more like a hot air balloon, like a giant balloon over there. Right?
Money is more difficult to move than it was 15, 20 years ago. Let's be honest, because I mean, now with the regulations, you have these different.
I mean, we used to get on the phone and get 25 dimes down on a phone call.
Like nothing. And like I had bookmakers in the desert, or I had bookmakers in New York that would take 50, 100 dimes like nothing.
It was nothing.
Yeah. I mean, I used to bet the board with a guy at 100 a stick a game, but we had to bet the board. We bet the board at 100 grand a game, and he let me lay 05. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. It was just a matter of time because, laying 7 and taking 7.5 somewhere else. I mean, the golden ages are done, but, there's still
It's a different time.
It's a different time.
And yeah, the edge is a little smaller than it used to be for us, but we're still winning long term.
But there are edges and there are ways to win,
Absolutely.
and we are consistent winners, and that does exist if you really take the time and you're careful and you don't chase and you manage your bankroll. You can absolutely be a sports betting winner consistently.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's give out some more picks or moves or whatever you guys want to call them. But these are the games that we bet on. We bet on them first, then we release them, and our moves help shape the market, the sports betting market. Let me go to Matt Maltepis from the College Kids. Matt, is there a side or a total that you like this week?
I do. I'm going to go to this Texas A&M Miami Florida game. The total opened 49, shot up to 55, and actually we saw it come back down to 51, and actually went under 51.5 here. Both of these defenses came out strong in their first game. A&M held New Mexico to 10 points, while the Miami Hurricanes held Miami, Ohio to 3 points. So, I mean, these teams they versed weren't the best ranked teams, but nonetheless, that's a good sign, keeping your opponent to.
Yeah, and you know what's great about how you're breaking this game down?
What's your pick?
Well, before he gives out the pick, the betting public usually pays attention to how many points has the offense scored. And if you're doing that, both teams combined last week put up 90 points. So you're expecting, these guys can score like crazy. They're going to score 100 points this week. But if you go back to last year, I think they played each other and they only put up 26 points combined in last year's game. So you got two real good defenses. So I'll let you finish what you were saying and who you like in that game.
I was actually going to go right to that. So I was talking about these defenses, and if you look to last year, I mean, they had a combined score of 26, which is half the total of what it was at 52. So we went under 51.5 here. I mean, A&M will have enough on the defensive side and defensive front to mitigate some of the rushing attack of Miami, Florida, and the safety duo that A&M will have to deal with. This might be the best safety duo they verse all year. So, yeah, no, the defenses are super strong here. I really do love the under 51.5.
So you got it down for the golden recap?
Texas A&M, Miami, Florida, under 51.5.
I do.
Professor Maltepis there.
Yes, sir.
For the College Kids.
Reporting for duty. All right, Matt. Is there anything else you want to share with the public out there that's listening, that's watching on JAKIB Sports, that's listening on Sirius XM Radio?
So, yes, the Rutgers at Temple game, both of these offenses didn't astound me in week one, right? So, Temple had a 24-21 victory against Akron. Akron was ranked 105th in the nation in yards per play metric from last year, and Rutgers was actually below Akron by about 25 spots, coming in at 130th. When we look at Temple's offense, they only put up about 24 points up against Akron, and Akron is ranked 105th in the nation in opponent yards per play. Compare that to Rutgers defense. Well, Rutgers defense, they came in ranked 44th last year in opponent yards per play, and they held Northwestern to 3 yards per play last game, which is currently tied for the best in the country next to Tennessee, Notre Dame, Alabama, and Texas. So we have some great company there. That's why I bet the under 44 in this game.
All right. Now, I know Jamie likes Colorado, but he got the best of the number. What'd you get? Did you get plus 1.5 or laid 1.5?
Well, yeah. I mean, it came out really early. I happen to be staying in a resort casino that has FanDuel Sportsbook in it. And so I ran right to the window the minute that it came out, and it came out at plus 1.5. So I got Colorado plus 1.5. I bet the max. Then as soon as I bet it, they moved the number.
Excuse me, Jamie. What was the max there you could bet on?
Well, the first max was 2,000, and because I was a new customer, I didn't even have a card yet. But they told me that they let me to go up to 10,000.
Oh, really?
If once I have a card,
right?
There was
Now, after you made the wager, did they move off the bet?
Yeah. And they moved it. And I said, all right, now I'm going to put, I said, do you mind if I put another bet on it? And they said, sure, but the numbers changed. Now we're minus 1.5.
Oh, really? Okay.
So it moved 3 points on me right from the bet because they said the whole country was looking at Colorado. I mean, look, we all know that we're riding a wave. We understand that it's a public kind of excitement coming in. Coach Prime, do you believe? And I do. I actually do. I think this might be the last game where there's real value, where value in getting them at these kinds of numbers. I think after this.
So if they blow them out, then the market's going to get readjusted on this team. They're going to change.
Yeah. I think this was the next best spot. Sorry, but then the first game. The first game was.
How do you compare Nebraska's defense to TCU's?
I mean, Nebraska obviously has a better defense.
But then again, I mean, are they a better team? TCU
but they're not a better team. Nebraska has
they
have no quarterback.
Yeah, and TCU was expected to win 7.5 games this year. I think Nebraska's regular season win total was set at 6.
I still have love for Matt, and I'm telling you right now, if I can take 3.5 in a game, I hope it goes even better. I mean, I'm a Cornhusker.
I understand.
There's a lot of public money on Colorado, but
I think it's just that people don't understand.
But just fading them. I think they're undervalued even at this number. Matt,
they still don't believe that they're real. They thought that was just some weird anomaly that
you don't
happened.
go into someone else's, stadium as 21-point
a real team. TCU is a real.
And I know they
team.
lost a lot of production from last year on the offensive side.
They're also dealing with some college students that college players
played above their head.
But you know what the difference is?
What, Deion?
Every time you hear Deion, what does he preach? Work. You see, he's got these kids believing. And you know what else? They got some of the most amazing athletes on this team in college football. Their quarterback could have been playing in Alabama. He turned Alabama down. Hunter turned Alabama down. They got. I think they have more speed at key positions than 90% of the teams in college football today.
You're disrespecting. You're disrespecting Matt and his coaching ability.
Can you imagine 4 receivers over 100 yards? When have you ever heard that?
He threw for 510. The kid threw for 510, and they're still not giving him his props. Like, if you need proof of concept,
I'm not.
What else can Deion do to prove to everyone that he's?
It was one game. It was one game.
True.
I'm not saying he's a one-hit wonder, and that was going to be his Grammy he got for having a great game.
We got 40 seconds left. Let me go to Matt. Matt, do you like anybody here?
Matty, what do you make the number on the game?
So I didn't touch this game personally, but if I had to lean, it is with Deion Sanders. I mean, you look at that first week.
You can't quantify
21.5. So it may be one game, right? One game, but it's one game where you're 21.5 point underdog.
Professor Maltepes, what do you make the game?
20 seconds. What I made the game, 2.5.
No, you're Philly Godfather. That's
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We get a little confused.
Matty, what do you make the game? I just want to know what you make the
Look, all I'm going to say is if I were to bet this game, I'm going Colorado.
Hold that thought. We're coming back next with more legendary sports betting action.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Show. You can catch us on Sirius XM channel 159 Sports Grid, and you can watch us on JAKIB Sports on YouTube. Let's do the Golden recap. I want to go to Jamie Gold. He's going to recap all the moves we gave out so far today.
All right, here is my Golden recap for the day from everyone's moves. So we got a little something on Michael Penix Jr. From the college kids. They're looking at him and the price, if the price is right, to take him for the Heisman. Shedeur Sanders, this is from the Godfather at 28-1. If you can get that price anywhere 25, 28-1, it's worth a little something. I am sticking with my Caleb Williams with USC. I got it at 5-1. Depending on where it is right now, I wouldn't go any less than 4-1. And then I had that with the combo of a terrible guess on Cade Klubnik, which is just not going to be in the running. We got Colorado, which I gave out at I grabbed it at plus 1.5. You'll never get that number again. It's now down to -3. If you can get anything -3 or less, minus 2.5 maybe, I still say Colorado, but definitely Colorado money line. We have that from kind of consensus, except Jimmy is waiting for the 3.5 or better, which it could hit, and then he's going that way.
Public.
Exactly, and that's the sharp way to go. I understand. Not every bet I make certainly is going to be sharp.
And let's make this clear: if you're getting plus 1.5, and you're on Colorado, and he's taking 3.5, both of you guys can still win those wagers.
There is a middle
it's
opportunity,
all about the price.
And I may take it. Look, if it goes high enough, if it went to 5, I'd take it on the other side too. So we got the Browns plus 8.5 and Washington -1 from Bill Krakenberger as a teaser. That's an NFL teaser, by the way. We got Michigan over 58 from Jimmy. We got Texas A&M Miami game under 51.5 from Matt, and we got Rutgers and Temple under 44 from Matt.
And that's the Golden recap.
That is my Golden recap for the day.
I want to thank everyone for listening. I want to thank all our sponsors. Make sure you guys check out Sirius XM channel 159. Sports Grid, JAKIB Sports. Make sure you check out Jimmy the Sheep Batista at Barry Right Number, Jamie Gold at Real Jamie Gold at Twitter, Matt Maltepis at TCK_experience, and the college kids and Matt Maltepis. And make sure you check out his new podcast at the Maltepis Report.
Yes.
That's it. Love you guys. Keep firing and get money.
And I just joined Instagram. So
let's go.
I'm there too.
If you own a company and you're not producing a podcast, you're missing out. The public consumes messaging when they're ready. Join the professional podcast network of companies and let JAKIB Media Partners put you in the podcast arena. Come to our professional studio, or we'll come to your place of business and professionally produce your company podcast. Call JAKIB Media right now at 267-261-3428. 267-261-3428.
EAGLES. Eagles.